Jane McCall and the Twilight Stacks. Chapter 11. The Mother. She'd forgotten about having to attend school. Wednesdays were hard to begin with. They dragged on unbearably as the midpoint of the school week, and her newfound urgency was driving her nuts. She managed to get through class, with the fact that everyone was antsy about the upcoming trip concealing the source of her own agitation. The bus dropped her off at home, and Jane made a beeline for her room. She dumped her backpack on the bed, dug up a cheap compass she hadn't been able to find that morning, and headed for the exit as quickly as she could without running. She didn't make it out the door. Her hand was on the knob when her mother's voice called to her. "Jane, wait. Come here." "Busted." Jane let her hand drop and dragged her feet all the way to the living room. Her mom was sitting on the couch, her latest thriller on the end table and coffee cup in hand. Her wedding band glinted on her finger, and her engagement ring hung on its chain around her neck. Jane had never seen her mother without either piece of jewelry. Her mom was otherwise dressed down, hair loose and shirt stained with flour. Jane had no idea why she'd come home early. Her mom patted the couch next to herself. "Sit down. We need to talk." Jane's stomach twisted into a knot. She clutched the hem of her jacket and walked stiffly to sit next to her mom. Neither spoke for a minute. Jane was all but vibrating with stress, and her mom was doing her best to pretend that everything was fine. Her best was excellent, and that only drove Jane to further tension. "What do you want?" she finally snapped, then cringed. Sorry. "You're forgiven." Her mom took another sip of coffee, then said, "You ran off before we could talk about the trial. You've been subpoenaed to testify." "I know. I knew that weeks ago. What's your point?" "Don't take that tone with me," her mom retorted. She sighed and put her coffee down. "Jane, the stabbing was traumatic for you. I'm worried that when you're asked about it, you'll react poorly. That'll only sell it to the jury. I'm not concerned about the jury. I'm worried about you. You've been acting strangely since yesterday." "You don't have to be. I'm fine. It's just a headache." She wrapped her hand around her cuff. Her mark itched. "Can you just let me handle this? I'm your mother. It's my job to worry." She glanced at Jane's hands. "Did you hurt your wrist?" "No." "Then why are you holding it like that? Let me see." Resisting would only lead to more questions. Then again, maybe having her mom know would be a good thing. Jane had never seen either of her parents do magic, but if this was hereditary, okay, it would be her dad who knew. Still, he might have told her mom about it. They told each other everything. Jane undid the cuff and held out her arm for her mother to inspect. She expected to be scolded for drawing on her skin or interrogated within an inch of her life about how she managed to get a tattoo. Best case, her mom would be surprised, then start providing exposition. Instead, she checked Jane's wrist, flipped her hand over, and let her go. "You're fine," she proclaimed. Did she not see the mark? On one hand, Jane was glad to escape punishment for something she had no control over. On the other, there went her chance of an explanation. She could try to show her dad, but her hopes were low. Then she had an idea. She put her cuff back on and said, "I've been having weird dreams the past couple of nights. They've been bringing up some old memories. Not bad, just old. My point is, when I was younger, did I ever talk about something called the Twilight Stacks?" Her mom tilted her head in contemplation. "Not that I can recall." Well, phooey. It looked like the memory tampering had hit her mom, too. Either that or Jane had kept the stacks a secret. She was getting really sick of not having enough memory to draw conclusions. Huh. Must have been something else. Never mind, then. Are you sure you're okay? With the trial, and your headaches, and now these dreams. Jane, I just want you to be healthy. And wasn't that a punch to the guilt? Jane slumped forward until her head was resting on her mom's shoulder. "I'm all right. Figuring some stuff out. If I can't deal with it on my own, I'll ask for help. Will you?" "Promise." Jane rubbed her forehead back and forth against her mom's shoulder and pulled back. The action left her glasses askew, and the front of her hair frizzed and disarrayed. She looked quite silly. Her mom smiled fondly and finger-combed the strands back into a semblance of order. The gentle tugging scratching sensation had Jane melting into a puddle. "This is good," she said. Her mom chuckled. "You and Jess both with the head petting, I swear." Speak of the devil. A little tan and red-brown mottled fuzzball came skittering into the living room. She launched herself at the couch and clambered on top of Jane in order to reach her mom's face. Slobbery kisses and wiggly tap dancing ensued. Her mom needed 2 hands to contain the hyperactive pup. Jane scooted away in the resulting chaos. She waited until jealous Jess had been turned into happy Jess via the power of cuddles before standing up. I'm gonna go bike to the library. Be back by dinner. Wait. Her mom put Jess on the floor. I'll drive you. I have some errands I need to run anyway. The warmth Jane felt at the offer had nothing at all to do with her new magic. Thanks. Queries, kudos, or concerns? Like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for listening.